The arena was filled with loud cheers. Alien warriors from 10 different planets were watching from metal stands shaped like claws. Lights above flashed red and blue. In the center was a large battle ring made of shining stone, glowing with energy lines. This was no normal fight. This was the Arena of Worlds, a place where only the strongest survived. A tall door opened with a hiss. A single human stepped out. His name was Jace. He wore a plain black outfit with no armor. His hands held 2 wooden sticks connected by a chain. Nunchucks. The aliens laughed. Some shouted jokes. Others made fun of him. One alien with 4 eyes said, "Is this human here to dance, not fight?" From the other side of the arena, the champion entered, Commander Valakra. She was a famous female warrior from the planet Zoran. Her armor was golden, sharp and full of high-tech weapons. Her helmet had horns. Her boots made the ground shake when she walked. She had never lost a fight. Her eyes narrowed when she saw Jace. "That's it?" she said loudly. "This human brings toys to a war?" The crowd laughed again. Valakra raised her weapon, a large energy blade that could slice a ship. "I will break your sticks in 1 second, human." Jace didn't reply. He simply looked around the arena, calm and quiet. Then he nodded to the referee, an old alien with silver skin. The bell rang. Valakra moved first, fast, like a storm. She jumped high, landing just in front of Jace with a loud thud. She swung her blade. The crowd roared, but Jace moved sideways just in time. The blade hit the ground with a loud crash. Sparks flew. Dust rose. Then Jace spun his nunchucks. The sound was like a whistle mixed with wind. Fast, sharp, beautiful. Valakra looked confused. She tried to strike again. This time, Jace blocked her with 1 stick, then hit her leg with the other. A loud crack echoed in the arena. Her golden armor had a dent. The laughter stopped. The aliens looked at each other in silence. This wasn't just luck. The human was skilled. Valakra growled. "You will pay for that." She attacked again, using both speed and power. Her strikes were heavy, deadly, but Jace moved like water. He flowed around her attacks, ducking and spinning, always out of reach. His nunchucks moved faster than eyes could follow. Then, whap whap, he hit her arm and shoulder. Another dent, another crack. This time, Valakra screamed. From above, a large screen showed the slow-motion replay. Jace's hands moved like lightning. His balance was perfect. His strikes were exact. A whisper went through the crowd. Who trained him? Is he really human? Why did he come here? Valakra jumped back, breathing hard. She looked at her damaged armor. "You fight like no one I've seen," she said. Still, Jace didn't speak. His eyes were calm, focused. Then Valakra shouted to the crowd, "He's just lucky! 1 more strike and I will crush him." She ran toward him again. Jace dropped low, spinning his nunchucks faster. The sticks became a blur. Valakra swung her blade, but it never hit. Jace dodged under her arm and smacked the back of her knee. She lost balance. He jumped up and hit her chest right on the center of her armor. The golden plate cracked, a large line splitting across. Valakra fell to 1 knee. The crowd gasped. Jace stood back. His breathing was steady. His nunchucks stopped, moving, now hanging by his side. Valakra looked up, angry and shocked. She touched the crack in her armor. You did this with sticks?" Jace finally spoke. His voice was soft but firm. "They are not sticks. They are an extension of my spirit." Silence. The arena, filled with thousands of aliens from across. The galaxy went completely silent. The bell rang again. Round 1 was over. But in that moment, everyone knew. This fight would not be simple, and this human was not ordinary. Valakra's pride burned hotter than her armor's power core. She stood up slowly, golden shards falling from the crack in her chest plate. The crowd above watched in silence, too stunned to cheer. Her opponent was only a human. No armor, no energy weapons, just 2 spinning sticks. And yet, he had hurt her, in front of everyone. That could not be allowed. Valekra's eyes glowed red as she activated her suit's internal power system. Her armor hissed. Small vents opened across her arms and legs. Steam burst out. The lights on her back lit up. She wasn't just angry now, she was fully activated. The referee, nervous, looked toward the council box. The elder aliens watching from above didn't stop her. They wanted to see more. So did the galaxy. Jace didn't move. His nunchucks hung loosely in his hands. His face still showed no fear, no anger. Just focus. Valekra roared and leaped. This time she didn't swing. With brute strength, she attacked with speed. She spun, kicked, and slashed in a flurry of movement. Her fists were like hammers, her blade faster than sound. The air shimmered around her strikes. The human didn't run. He stepped in. He ducked under her elbow, blocked with one stick, and twisted his body sideways. Then, crack! He struck the back of her hand. Her blade flew out of her grip, landing meters away. Gasps echoed in the arena. But Jace didn't stop. He flipped backward, landed on his feet, then rushed forward with his nunchucks spinning. Whap! 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 The wooden sticks hit her shoulder, then her thigh, then the side of her helmet. Valekra stumbled back. Her armor's golden shine was fading, replaced with dents, scrapes, and burn marks. She raised her fist to fight hand to hand now, but even her punches missed. Jace was untouchable. It was like watching a dance, but this dance broke bones. From the stands, a Zoran noble stood up and shouted, "This is a lie! No human moves like that." An old war general beside him whispered, "That's no lie. That's Earth martial arts, forgotten by most, honed by few." Back in the arena, Valekra let out a scream of frustration. She activated her hidden boosters and dashed, behind Jace quicker than ever. She grabbed him by the arm. Finally. But before she could throw him, he flipped. Using her own grip, Jace lifted his legs and swung over her head, pulling her forward with his weight. He spun mid-air, twisted her wrist, and slammed her face first into the arena floor. A deep thud. Dust flew. Her helmet bounced away. Valekra groaned. Her lip bled. Her eyes blinked rapidly as the world spun. The audience didn't know what to say. Jace stepped back again. He could have finished her, but he didn't. He waited. Valekra, breathing heavily, sat up and looked at him. Her voice shook with disbelief. "You didn't kill me," Jace said softly. "I didn't come to kill. I came to prove." "To prove what?" she spat, wiping blood from her mouth. "That humans are not weak." Silence again. Even the warriors who once mocked him now leaned forward, interested, curious, respectful. Valekra lowered her eyes. For the first time in her life, she didn't feel like the stronger one. She felt like a student. Then something inside her armor beeped. A warning. Her energy levels were dropping fast. Her suit couldn't take much more damage. Her pride told her to rise again, to fight until the end. But her instincts whispered something else. Respect him. Learn from him. Still on one knee, she looked up at the human. "What is your name?" "Jace," he said, offering her a hand. She stared at it for a moment, and took it. He helped her to her feet. The crowd, slowly, started to clap. Not a cheer, a slow, steady clap of understanding, a sign of deep respect in the arena of worlds. Jace nodded once at the audience, then turned to leave. Valekra watched him walk away. She had mocked the nunchucks, called them toys. But now, her armor lay in pieces, and deep in her heart something had changed. As Jace walked out of the arena, whispers followed him like shadows. Some aliens clapped. Others stayed silent, confused. But one group inside a high-tech viewing box stared closely at the screen. They were not fans. They were watchers, members of the Galactic Intelligence Corps, and one of them recognized something. That movement, that stance, the green-skinned watcher muttered, zooming in on the slow-motion replay. It's not just human martial art. It's from the Shadow Order of Earth. Far from the arena, inside a dark room on a hidden moon base, another figure watched the battle replay. The old man had long gray hair, his eyes glowing faintly behind silver glasses. He smiled. So my student finally steps into the stars. Jace walked down the metallic hallway behind the arena, past tall alien guards who avoided his gaze. His footsteps were silent. His eyes calm. But inside his mind, memories returned. Flashes of pain, loss, and fire. It all started in old Tokyo. After Earth's third collapse, many cities were ruins. In the shadows of what once was Tokyo, a hidden dojo still remained. Its walls were broken, but its soul was alive. Jace had arrived there as a child, hungry and alone. He had no family, no voice, just scars. The old master had taken him in. No questions asked. He never told Jace his name, only that he was the last grandmaster of the Shadow Order, a forgotten group of warriors who believed that weapons were part of the soul, not the hand. They didn't use guns. They didn't need armies. They used balance, focus, silence, and nunchucks. For years, Jace trained in secret, while the world ignored him. While the galaxy laughed at humans, the Shadow Order taught him how to turn wood into lightning, silence into strength, fear into control. One lesson remained in his heart. Let your enemy's strength become their fall. Be still like a river and strike like its flood. Back in the arena complex, Commander Valekra sat inside a medbay. Her armor was off. Her arms and chest were wrapped in energy bandages. Beside her stood a silent alien medic. She didn't speak. Her pride was still healing. Suddenly, a message came through the room speaker. "Valekra," said a deep voice. "The human's record has no military past, no combat tournaments. His profile says he was a civilian miner from Mars. Do you believe that?" She stared at the wall. "No." The voice continued. "We're sending scouts to Earth. We want to know who trained him." Valekra clenched her fists. "He's not just strong," she said. "He's dangerous. Not because of his weapon, but because of his control." In another section of the arena base, Jace sat alone in a quiet training room. The walls were lined with old alien weapons. He didn't touch them. He closed his eyes. He could still hear his master's voice from the past. "Jace, one day the galaxy will call you weak. Let them. When the time is right, show them what Earth truly is." A soft knock came at the door. It opened and Valekra stepped in. Her body was bruised, but her eyes were sharp. "You said you came to prove something," she said. "To who?" Jace opened his eyes. "To everyone who believes humans are nothing." She crossed her arms. "Why nunchucks? Your people have guns, lasers, machines." He stood holding the wooden weapons in his hands. "Machines break, bullets run out. But the soul never runs out of power." Valekra stared at the sticks again. She now saw something more than just wood. She saw years of pain and patience, loss and legacy. She didn't speak for a while. Then she whispered, "Teach me." Jace blinked. "What?" "I want to learn, not to fight you again, but to understand how you broke my pride, without breaking me." Jace didn't smile, but his voice grew soft. "Meet me tomorrow. Dawn." In the shadows above, the Galactic Council watched through hidden eyes. One of them leaned forward. "This human is more than a fighter. He's a message." Another nodded slowly. "Yes, and we must decide, do we erase the message or follow it?" The next day, the training arena was empty, except for two. Jace stood in the center, nunchucks in hand, eyes closed. Calm, focused. Across from him, Commander Valekra stood barefoot, her golden armor gone. She wore a simple black training suit, like the ones Earth warriors once wore long ago. Her bruises were fading, but her heart still felt cracked. "Again," she said. Jace nodded. The two moved slowly at first, like a mirror dance. Valekra tried to copy his stance, the way he shifted, his weight, the quiet control in his breath. Her body knew strength but not balance. Her moves were loud. His were silent. "Your muscles are ready," Jay said softly, spinning his nunchucks with one hand. "But your heart still fights against itself." Valekra growled, "I am a warborn. I do not hide feelings." "That's your weakness." Before she could answer, he flicked the nunchucks. They zipped forward, not to hit but to redirect her arm. She stumbled forward off balance. She caught herself, then looked at him. "How did you do that?" Jay simply said, "You fought the movement. You didn't listen." Meanwhile, above the arena dome, hidden cameras were rolling. The galactic arena had never seen this before, an enemy teaching his rival. The video feed spread across planets. In minutes, billions tuned in. At first they laughed, a warrior learning from a human. But as the stream continued, the laughter stopped. Because what they saw was Artdod on planet Duraxis. An alien monk paused his prayer to watch the screen. On the rings of Zarneth, pirate queens stopped their drinking games to watch. Even in the throne chamber of the Galactic Council, the High Lords stared at the live feed, the silent spinning. The footwork, the elegance of the human's flow. It wasn't violence, it was poetry. Hours passed. Valekra sat on the floor now, breathing hard. Sweat ran down her face. Her arms were sore. Her pride was quieter. Jace handed her a water bottle. "I thought you would humiliate me again," she admitted. "But you didn't." Jace sat beside her. "I didn't come to destroy you. I came to show you something." She looked at him. "What?" "That strength is not always about winning." "Then what is it?" "Control," Jace said. "Of body, of mind, of ego." Valekra was quiet. For the first time in her warrior life, she felt like a student again. Suddenly, the door to the chamber burst open. A tall alien stepped in, wearing black military robes. His eyes were sharp and his voice cold. "Human," he barked. "You are ordered to report to the council." Valekra stood. "On what charge?" The officer ignored her. "You've made too much noise, Earthling. The council believes your presence is disturbing balance." Jace didn't argue. He stood, bowed once to Valekra, and followed the officer. Back inside the council chamber, 12 high-ranking aliens stared down at him. Each wore symbols of their home worlds. Some had feathers, others metal spikes, but all looked suspicious. "You embarrassed a war champion," one said. "You stirred unrest across the systems," another added. "You are spreading Earth philosophy in a time of peace," the leader growled. Jace stood still. Then he said, "If peace is built on silence and lies, it is not peace, it is fear." The room shook with murmurs. One counselor whispered to another, "He's not just a fighter, he's becoming a symbol." The head counselor leaned forward. "You have no army, no planet behind you, no fleet." Jace nodded. "Just 2 sticks." Laughter erupted, until Jace spun his nunchucks again, just once. The sound cracked through the chamber like thunder. A gust of wind followed, caused by the sheer force of speed. Silence returned. The head counselor blinked. "Very well. We will allow you to stay. But know this. If you break one law, Earth will be blamed." "I understand," Jace said. "But if I am attacked again, I will defend." Outside the chamber, Valekra waited. She looked up as he walked out. "What did they say?" "They're scared." "Of you?" "No," Jace said, looking at the stars through the glass. "Of what humans might inspire." In the stars above, a new story was being written. A human with no army, changing the hearts of warriors. The galaxy had mocked Earth. But now, the HFY crowd had gone silent. Because one man with nunchucks had made them all listen. The arena lights dimmed. It wasn't for a match. It was for an announcement. Thousands of beings from every corner of the galaxy gathered again, This time not to cheer, but to witness a challenge that should never have been made. Valekra had done the unthinkable. She requested a second duel with Jace. This time not for pride, but for truth. Jace accepted, but something was wrong. Backstage, Jace paced slowly, breathing steady. His nunchucks hung from his belt. Valekra had shown him respect, asked to learn, even trained under him. But now she wanted to fight again. Why? Across the arena wall, a shadow moved. A hidden figure watched the monitors, fingers tight around a small controller. His name was Relan, a high minister from the planet Vurak. He feared change. He feared Earth. And he feared that Jace's influence might unite the lower worlds. So he made a deal, one that included Valekra. Valekra stood alone in her chamber, staring at her reflection. She had lied to Jace. The council had forced her. Her people demanded it. If you do not defeat him publicly, her leader had said, you will be exiled. Or worse, replaced. So she agreed. But deep in her armor, hidden under her left gauntlet, was something forbidden. A hidden plasma blade, invisible to scanners, deadly with one strike. She clenched her fist. Forgive me, Jace. The arena thundered with sound. As Jace stepped out, the ground beneath his feet lit up. The crowd was not cheering this time. They were hungry, waiting for blood, waiting for him to fall. Valekra entered next. Her face was hard, her body covered in light armor. Not the heavy gold one, this time she wanted speed. They faced each other in the center of the ring. Jace bowed. Are we really doing this? Valekra didn't speak. Her silence hurt more than any words. The bell rang. Valekra came fast, much faster than last time. She spun, kicked, and flipped. Her moves had improved. Jace noticed. She had truly trained. They clashed again and again, nunchucks spinning, strikes echoing. The crowd roared. But Jace could feel something different. Her strikes were emotional, off rhythm, nervous. Something was wrong. Suddenly her hand reached under her gauntlet. Too quick. Too sharp. A hidden blade snapped out silently, glowing blue. She thrust it forward toward Jace's chest, but he stepped sideways. Not just dodging, predicting. The blade missed, but it cut his sleeve. Barely. Jace froze. The crowd didn't notice, but he did. You were going to kill me, he said quietly, eyes locked on hers. Valekra's breathing broke. Her hand trembled. I had no choice, she whispered. They threatened everything. Jace stepped back. Why didn't you trust me? Before she could answer, a voice echoed from the stands. End him! Relan had stood up, shouting for blood. Valekra's eyes widened. She had been used. Again. I'm sorry, she said. Jace turned toward the crowd. Slowly, he raised one hand, not to fight, but to speak. He shouted loud enough for the arena walls to shake. You think Earth is weak? The crowd went silent. You think kindness is weakness? You think peace is fear? He raised his nunchucks and spun them once. Fast, smooth, controlled. I knew about the blade, gasps. I knew this fight was a setup, but I still came. Because strength isn't about armor or weapons. It's about standing firm when everyone tells you to fall. He looked at Valekra, and still showing mercy. She dropped the blade. Council guards burst into the arena. They moved toward Jace, but the crowd blocked them. Dozens of aliens stood between the guards and the ring. A voice from the top rows yelled, "Let him speak!" Another shouted, "He earned respect!" Relan screamed, "This is a violation!" But no one listened anymore. Valekra knelt down and offered her gauntlet to Jace, the warrior sign of apology. Jace nodded and placed one of his nunchucks into her hands, an even greater sign. The crowd stood, not to cheer, to honor. Above them all, the council stared in silence. One counselor turned to the others. If this is what one human can do with 2 sticks, imagine what 10 could do. Another muttered, "No." Imagine what one idea could do. They had tried to stop a message. But now it was too late. The hidden blade was gone, but the truth was out. The battle was over, but the real war was just beginning. Jace stood in the middle of the arena, surrounded not by enemies, but by silence. Not the silence of fear, the silence of realization. Across the galaxy, screens replayed the moment. Jace refusing to fight back even when betrayed. Valekra falling to her knees, the hidden blade clattering to the floor. The message had spread farther than lasers ever could. Valekra sat alone inside the medbay, staring at her reflection again. This time without shame, without anger. Her face showed something new, humility. She still wore the black training suit, and in her lap rested the very weapon she once mocked, Jace's nunchuck, gifted to her not in victory or defeat, but in trust. A knock came at the door. Jace entered. There was no tension between them anymore. No titles, no rank. Just two warriors who had seen each other clearly. She stood and bowed deeply. I failed you. Jace shook his head. No, you failed the people who made you believe they owned your honor. Her jaw clenched. The council will erase this moment. They'll rewrite it. Say I won. Say I spared you. Say Earth cheated. Jace nodded. Let them. But we both know what happened. And so does the crowd. She looked down. What will you do now? He looked out the medbay window toward the distant stars. Leave this planet, train others, not in weapons, in control, in knowing who they are. She raised her eyes. Train me. Properly. I already have, he said with a quiet smile. That evening, a secret message reached Jace's room, encrypted. From Earth. He opened the message using a code passed down by the Shadow Order. A soft voice played, You have awakened the spark. The galaxy has seen the human spirit, but more eyes now watch. Some wish to learn, some wish to silence. You must choose, Jace. Disappear again. Or rise. Hours later, he stood in front of the council again. But this time, not as a criminal, not as a guest, as a symbol. The hall was packed. News crews hovered outside. Alien leaders stood along the walls. The entire galaxy had its ears turned toward this one moment. The council's main speaker stepped forward. Jace of Earth, the people demand we listen. That we offer you a place among the galactic arena elders. Murmurs filled the air. It had never been done. A human, as a trainer of champions? But Jace shook his head. No, gasps. I don't want a seat, I want something else. The counselor blinked. And what would that be? Jace looked them all in the eyes. Give me a ship. Let me travel. Let me visit planets where people have been forgotten. Let me train the ones no one believes in. Not the strongest. The quiet ones. The ones who think they're nothing. He paused. Let me build warriors from the dust. Valekra, standing among the crowd, smiled. The council was stunned. But they could not deny the will of the people. The cheers outside had turned into chants. Let him teach. A week later, a small silver ship stood on the launch pad, its side read, Spirit of Balance. Inside, Jace packed only two things, his nunchucks, and a worn cloth given to him by his old master marked with a single word, stillness. Valekra stood nearby. I will stay here, she said. I'll keep teaching what you taught me. Jace nodded. The galaxy's full of noise, but someone has to teach the silence. As the ship lifted into the stars, thousands watched from below. And across systems, news anchors spoke one name again and again. Jace of Earth. Meanwhile, deep in space, in a red system forgotten by time, a dark figure sat in front of an ancient screen. He had no eyes, only sensors. He watched the replay of Jace's speech, then turned to a shadowed army behind him. He must be erased. The screen went black. The ship's Spirit of Balance drifted through stars like a whisper in the void. Inside, Jace sat in stillness, legs folded, eyes closed, his nunchucks resting gently across his lap. His mind was calm, but his path was loud, echoing across planets, systems and civilizations that had never before heard Earth's voice spoken with respect. But now, the galaxy listened. In the deep, dusty markets of planet Catharn, children swung sticks, laughing as they mimicked Jace's movements. "I am the human. I fight with nothing, but everything," one shouted. In the floating academies of Talari, if alien generals rewrote their hand-to-hand manuals, "Earth philosophy," one said quietly, "is now part of our training." Even the old rebels of the dead moon Braxos, who once swore to never follow another, spoke his name around their fires. He beat power with peace. Jace had not declared war. He had declared identity. But in shadow, others prepared. On a cold, rusted planet, the hidden armada of the Void Syndicate watched his recordings in silence. Their leader, masked and silent, tapped a long black claw on the screen. "This Earthling," he growled, "reminds the weak that they can rise." His advisor whispered, "Shall we eliminate him?" The leader's eyes narrowed. "No, not yet. We'll watch what follows his footsteps. We'll see who dares to walk beside him." Back on the peaceful world of Zoran, Valekra stood before a group of students. None wore armor, none held weapons, only wooden training sticks. She bowed, then spoke the first Earth word she had learned: stillness. Then she began to teach. Jace's ship landed next on a dry, cracked moon. No name, no government, only lost people surviving in shelters made from broken satellites. The locals didn't speak when he arrived. They hid, as they always had. But Jace didn't offer food. He didn't offer gold. He dropped 2 sticks in the dirt and began to move. Slowly, silently. A young one peeked from behind rubble. Then another. Then a group. By nightfall, 20 refugees stood beside him, copying his stances. They laughed when they stumbled. They bowed when they succeeded. They had no weapons, but they felt something for the first time. Strength that didn't need fear. On his journey, Jace entered war-torn asteroid belts, abandoned stations, and refugee outposts. He trained orphan soldiers, blind monks, and broken engineers. No one paid him. No one thanked him. He never stayed more than a few nights. But wherever he passed, the balance changed. People stood straighter. People remembered Earth. And Earth, the home he came from, it changed too. Leaders who once begged for alien approval now stood firm in council meetings. "Earth will not build warships," one said. "We will build warriors of the soul." Jace's story returned home, not as myth but as message, and it spread like fire in dry wind. But stories like his invite challenge. In the galactic system of Gornath, where brutality ruled and prisoners fought for sport, a champion with 8 arms and steel skin slammed his fists into a council table. "This human weakling has made the galaxy soft." He pointed at a holoscreen showing children practicing with nunchucks. "If he will not fight me, I will hunt him." One night, on a snowy moon lit by twin suns, Jace lit a small fire. He sat alone, until a whisper came from the shadows. "You're being watched," said a voice. Jace nodded. "I always am." From the dark stepped a cloaked figure, a girl, young, alien, eyes glowing silver. "My people heard what you did on Catharn. They told me Earth was dirt. I don't believe them anymore." Jace passed her a short stick, then proved them wrong. She smiled and sat. Another student. Another spark. High above, deep within the council's secret sky chamber, the oldest watcher of them all stood at a window. He had lived through 6 galactic empires. He had seen stars born and dead. And yet now, he whispered to himself, a man with no army and just 2 sticks and the truth. He closed his eyes. It begins. In the endless dark of space, one ship drifted with no map, no war, no flag, only a purpose. A human who never asked for power, but had changed the galaxy with something far stronger. Discipline, mercy, stillness. And now, every world knew the name, Jace of Earth.